World War II, a conflict that reshaped the world, was marked by heroic acts and dark chapters alike. Today, we delve into some of the less discussed aspects of the United States' involvement. Throughout the course of World War II, the United States emerged as one of the key forces in defeating the Axis powers. Its military strategies, technological advancements, and substantial resources were pivotal. However, amidst the tales of bravery and tactical genius, there lie episodes that evoke a different spectrum of emotions: controversy, moral ambiguity, and introspection. In the upcoming exploration, we will uncover 10 significant incidents where the actions taken by the USA during the war have sparked extensive debate and criticism. These include strategic bombings that razed cities, decisions that led to massive civilian casualties, and policies that questioned the very rights and dignities of individuals. Understanding these aspects is crucial, not only for a comprehensive grasp of historical events, but also for the lessons they impart about power, responsibility, and the human cost of conflict. By reflecting on these events, we gain insights into the complexities of warfare and governance, and the often blurred lines between right and wrong in times of war. As we step into these stories, remember, history often holds a mirror to the complexities of human actions and decisions. February 1945 marked one of the most devastating bombings of World War II. During this period, American and British forces launched a massive aerial bombardment on the city of Dresden. Known for its rich cultural landmarks and civilian population, Dresden was not previously a primary target in the war. However, the Allies argued it was a transportation hub that supported German military logistics. Over the course of 2 days, the city was engulfed in a colossal firestorm triggered by thousands of tons of explosives. The intensity of the fires created a tornado of flames, consuming nearly everything in its path. Estimates suggest that the fierce bombing raids killed up to 25,000 civilians, though figures have varied widely. The strategic rationale provided was to cripple German movement and morale, yet the sheer scale of destruction and civilian casualties led many to question whether the bombings were disproportionate to military objectives. To this day, the attack on Dresden stirs a significant debate about the ethics of wartime strategies and the fine line between military targets and civilian casualties. Dresden's ashes tell a story of war's reach beyond the battlefield, questioning the line between strategic targets and civilian areas. From Europe to Asia, the strategy of aerial bombardment carried its fiery terror to Tokyo. On that fateful night of March 9th to 10th, 1945, Operation Meeting House was launched, marking one of the most devastating air raids in the history of warfare. The United States Army Air Forces deployed B-29 bombers, dropping a sea of incendiary bombs over Tokyo's densely populated residential areas. These bombs were specifically designed to ignite fierce and uncontrollable firestorms. As the city burned, the traditional wooden Japanese architecture offered little resistance to the flames. The inferno raged uncontrollably, sweeping through neighborhoods and claiming lives with ruthless efficiency. The human toll was staggering, with estimates suggesting that around 100,000 civilians lost their lives in a single night. Hundreds of thousands more were left homeless, their lives upended by a swath of destruction that rendered vast areas of Tokyo unrecognizable. The charred landscapes of Tokyo raise enduring questions about the cost of war and the price of victory. August 1945 introduced the world to a new era of warfare. In a decision that remains one of the most debated in military history, the United States dropped atomic bombs on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. On August 6th, Hiroshima was struck, and 3 days later, Nagasaki faced the same fate. These bombings marked the first and only use of nuclear weapons in war. The immediate effects were catastrophic. Over 200,000 people, mostly civilians, lost their lives either instantly or from subsequent radiation sickness and injuries. The cities were leveled, leaving haunting landscapes of destruction and suffering that shocked the world. The decision to use these bombs was driven by a desire to end the war swiftly and to avoid further massive casualties anticipated in a planned invasion of Japan. However, the ethical implications of targeting largely civilian areas with such devastating technology sparked a complex debate that continues to this day. The shadows imprinted on Hiroshima and Nagasaki's grounds forever remind us of the profound consequences of atomic warfare. At Dachau, the horrors of war blurred the lines between justice and vengeance. In the final days of April 1945, American forces liberated Dachau concentration camp, a place etched in history for its unspeakable atrocities. Amid the overwhelming shock and rage, some American troops executed captured SS guards and German soldiers on sight. These summary executions, devoid of any formal trial, starkly violated the principles laid out in the Geneva Conventions, which dictate the humane treatment of prisoners of war. The swift actions at Dachau continue to spark debate on wartime justice and retribution. In the aftermath of victory, the shadows of war lingered in the Rheinwiesenlager Camps. Here, the United States held hundreds of thousands of German prisoners of war. The conditions were dire. The camps, intended as temporary holding areas, became overcrowded quickly. Men were forced to live out in the open, exposed to the elements, with minimal shelter provided. Food and medical supplies were scarce, leading to suffering and death among the prisoners. This period highlighted a stark violation of the expected treatment of war captives under international standards. The suffering in these camps stands as a grim reminder of the hardships of war captives. The strategic bombing campaigns of WWII often left a trail of civilian despair. As the war escalated, the United States, along with its allies, adopted a strategy that involved extensive bombing of not just military targets, but also infrastructure that was deemed crucial to the enemy's war effort. This included transportation networks, factories, and even entire cities. The rationale was clear: cripple the enemy's ability to wage war and break their spirit. Yet, this strategy led to enormous civilian casualties and the destruction of entire neighborhoods and communities. Cities across Germany and Japan witnessed scenes of unprecedented devastation, as residential areas were often not spared. The ethical debates surrounding these decisions are intense and ongoing. Critics argue that such tactics do not distinguish between combatants and non-combatants, a fundamental principle of international humanitarian law. Supporters, however, contend that these harsh measures helped hasten the end of the war, potentially saving lives that prolonged conflict would have claimed. The ruins of homes and lives in these areas pose critical questions about the morality of wartime strategies. Fear and suspicion within America's own borders led to one of its most regrettable wartime actions. During World War II, over 120,000 Japanese Americans were forcibly removed from their homes and relocated to internment camps across the United States. This drastic measure was fueled by fears of espionage and sabotage following the attack on Pearl Harbor, despite lacking substantial evidence to justify such widespread suspicion. The conditions within these internment camps were harsh and degrading. Families, stripped of their possessions and dignity, were housed in cramped, often unsanitary conditions. Barbed wire fences and armed guards surrounded them, emphasizing their unwarranted imprisonment. Life in the camps was a daily struggle against both the physical hardships and the psychological toll of being treated as the enemy in one's own country. The impact of internment left deep scars on the Japanese American community. It disrupted lives, shattered families, and led to significant financial and emotional losses. Even after the war, former internees faced challenges reintegrating into American society, their loyalty still questioned by many. The internment camps remain a stark lesson in the dangers of wartime hysteria and racial prejudice. Today's journey through these dark chapters of World War II challenges us to reflect deeply. As we've navigated the tumultuous waters of World War II's lesser-spoken atrocities, from the incendiary destruction of Dresden to the harrowing aftermath of atomic bombs in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, each story reveals layers of moral and strategic complexity. The firebombing of Tokyo, the execution of German POWs at Dachau, and the dire conditions in the Rheinwiesenlager camps each underscore a grim narrative, the blurring lines between military tactics and humanitarian crises. These events compel us to question the balance between wartime exigencies and the ethical mandates that seek to preserve humanity even amidst conflict. The strategic bombings that indiscriminately blended civilian and military targets and the internment of Japanese Americans highlight a recurring theme: the perilous slide from strategic necessity to moral compromise. This reflection isn't just an academic exercise. It's a crucial dialogue about the essence of human values when tested by the extremities of war. How do we weigh the immediate demands of national security against the enduring principles of human rights? These questions do not propose easy answers, but they do demand a critical examination of past actions to better inform future decisions. As we ponder these historical events, let us strive for a future informed by the lessons of the past, ensuring that history's darkest chapters teach us rather than define us.